Rich countries, the US included, promised to make efforts to reach 0.7 of 1% of our national income, less than 1%, to help the poorest countries in the world to fight poverty, hunger, and disease under the rubric of the Millennium Development Goals. Basically, the United States has abandoned that. It got caught up in these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and hidden wars, unfortunately, in other places as well. And we've squandered trillions of dollars on these useless wars and then said, well, we don't have money to help children go to school. We don't have the money that we promised to help smallholder farmers grow more food. We've wasted time, and we've lowered our national security as a result of that, sad to say. The trend is getting worse. There's a wave of both not only unilateralism, but increasing isolationism, that we don't care about the rest of the world, that's not our problem. But of course, if we stop being helpful, cooperative, and contributing, the dangers for us and for the whole world multiply. We have our young people around the United States occupying Wall Street and occupying parks around the country, saying completely correctly, we are the 99%. What they mean by that is that the top 1%, especially Wall Street, big name firms like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, Citigroup, have reneged on their responsibilities, and sometimes very harshly. And people are feeling whipsawed by this, that it's free markets as long as the banks are getting rich, and then if the banks get in trouble, all of a sudden it's bailouts, and then if the banks start making money again, all of a sudden it's free markets again. Mm-hmm. This kind of game has led to a despair among the American people, but worse than that, we have a budget crisis that comes from the fact that our corporations are not paying the taxes that they ought to be paying. Rich people are able to keep their money in tax havens abroad or are able to get special privileges, and then we don't have money in the budget. And when we don't have money in the budget, we end up seeing the teachers fired, we end up seeing the Department of Education under tremendous threat. We see many Republican candidates say, well, why don't we close the Department of Education altogether? An idea so horrendous and shocking that you would not even expect it from a fringe party, much less one of the two main parties of the United States. So this is a failure that I consider to be a moral crisis, even more than an economic crisis. People who are saying something's not right get hit by the agents of the status quo, and they're quite powerful. And there are beneficiaries of the status quo system. They're powerful vested interests, they're narrow interests, they're the richest people often who want to keep their prerogatives. I think a second thing, which of course I hope everybody does, which I certainly try to do with my colleagues, is to actually do, not just talk. So I'm so proud of the development programs that we're engaged in throughout Africa, in India, in China, in Latin America, in Haiti. When you do something and you document it and you measure it and you show how it was done, that can also become a model for others in the same region. It can become a model for the host country and for the government in that country to scale up successes. It can be part of a network of innovation that can make a huge difference in the world. So I love the mix of doing and talking about it and promoting it and networking with people who know that in our world today we can make tremendously positive strides. Education is absolutely vital. It's mobilizing knowledge, it's empowering young people, it's empowering girls who in many societies otherwise would not be empowered. And by education of ourselves, communities, and by the empowerment that knowledge brings, we can change the world. We need to do it, and I believe we will do it.